Didn't he have the other one? It was like a chain. It had like it had decals on it, right?
Yeah, some like welding or something like that.
Yeah, so this must be a new one.
And you could tell he even like pulled it up on the curb a little bit to try to get it out of the street.
I mean, it's huge.
Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. That
I'm not gonna go after her.
Okay, I also don't want you to hurt yourself either.
I just want to look at her face. I'm not gonna hit her.
Just watch your feet, please. There's really nothing that you could do.
Thank you.
So what exactly happened?
Just from what we heard from the people, she was just.
Right now.
Well, it's not my fault.
No, it's neither of your faults. I know it sucks, but.
He's pissed at me because I didn't pull in the driveway.
Yeah, well,
So,
I mean, there's no going back now, you know.
It's a $100,000 truck.
okay, well, tell her.
Walk away.
Tell her.
Please walk away.
From what everybody said, that when we pulled up here, she was just driving down the road. She veered off and struck her vehicle. Okay, but like I said, we'll handle it accordingly and keep you in the loop, right?
Someone said, Bose, I can't believe you're watching my favorite sitcom. Dude, some Best of Body Cam episodes are, I'm more into the drama than the crime. Like even when the cop was like trying to take a picture of the damages and he's like, you're in my way. And then don't even get me started on Chris. And the beginning of the video was amazing.
Here, miss, you want to walk over to the ambulance, have them check you out?
Got any hand?
All right, let's walk over to the ambulance.
Cinema.
Say you're sorry.
Well, she's drunk. She
I
has
understand
no idea
that, but
what
like
she's
some
doing.
crazy person comes outside at 1 in and starts yelling at you. You say you're sorry. I would be in tears, first off, if that was me. I would be like, yeah.
She's just drunk. She has no idea whether she's really drunk.
Honestly, I came down. I heard them barking. And I put the alarm on because I thought
Dude, also, can I just say, she literally just woke up. Her like bare face and her little hair flips are so cute. I don't look like this. I don't look like this when I wake up at 1 a.m.
I don't come into my house, but then I'm like, wait a minute. I look outside, I see the lights, and I'm like, his truck's not there. And that's why I turned it off, and I was like, well, you heard me. But I didn't hear the bang.
I'm surprised. Well, maybe we're having a good night's sleep. You were.
I'm very happy. Holy Christ. He's not happy.
No, I don't blame him. I'd be pissed too if someone hit my truck.
But he's mad at me.
For now.
But this is what I tell you to play jog in.
I mean, with Uber and everything, I don't understand how people can still drink and drive. It's so easy to get a ride.
Yeah. The airbag not deploy on her side or it did?
The side ones went off. I don't think the fronts went off.
What?
The passenger might have been dead if there was one in the car.
Yep. And should be responsible for that too.
Wow.
Probably texting and driving too.
Since, of course, the accident, I just want to do a couple tests real quick.
Sure.
Just to make sure you're all right. What I want you to do is just stand with your feet together, arms down at your side. Do you see the pen? No, the pen right here.
Yeah.
Could you touch the tip of that pen? Okay, and what color is that?
Black.
Okay, all right, what I want you to do is just follow the tip of your pen, the tip of my pen, with your eyes and your eyes only.
Okay.
Do not move your head, okay?
All right.
You just got to try to keep your head still, okay? Just your eyes. You just got to keep following it, okay? Look, keep your head straight, okay?
Sorry. Okay.
Just keep your head straight and just follow with your eyes and your eyes only.
Okay.
All right, let's do the next test, okay? Next test is the walk and turn. Why don't we stand in the street for this, okay?
Right behind this car, yeah.
Do you feel comfortable doing this test in those sneakers, or do you want to take those sneakers off?
What is this test?
It's
Oh my God, wait, what is on her? Is this like residue or something from the airbags, or is this like white vomit? I don't know. Don't drink and drive.
Make sure you put your right heel touching your left toe. With the heel of your right foot touching the toe of your left foot. Just get into the starting position first, okay?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then...
Put your right foot in front of your left foot with your right heel touching your left toe.
Okay.
Okay, now I want you to remain in that position.
I'm not laughing at the video particularly. I just can't. I have a very active imagination with vivid imagery and an image of her projectile vomiting on impact or downward. Just every time she speaks, I'm just picturing it. And I can't get it out of my head. So I'm going to try to focus on the video. But if you randomly see me laugh, it's not what's going on in the video. It's the vivid imagery that's going on inside of my head.
I tell you to begin. Toe.
Okay. And then.
Put your right foot in front of your left foot with your right heel touching your left toe.
Okay.
Okay. Now I want you to remain in that position.
Okay.
Until I tell you to begin. If you fall out of that position, just get right back in it and put your arms down at your side, okay? Could you get in the starting position for me, please?
The suspect proceeds to simply try to get in the starting position for the next minute.
Okay, miss, turn around. You can put your hands behind your back. You can place under rest of your arm on top.
No,
I don't want you to fall down and hit your head, okay? You can barely stand. I don't want you falling down and hurting yourself.
Just listen to me real quick, okay? You have the right to remain silent. You can decide at any time to exercise these rights and not answer any questions or make any statements. You understand? Do you understand?
Yeah, this is the type of drunk where she's gonna wake up in the jail cell and not know why she's there. Absolutely no recollection.
Wait, okay, so.
Right now, you're being placed under arrest for driving while intoxicated. You're going to be processed. Somebody can come pick you up.
All right, we're just going to walk back to the car, and you're going to have a seat in the car, okay?
Wait. Before we go, someone can pick me up.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
When we get back, we'll call them, okay?
Yes.
No, wait.
No, so you're under arrest at this point. You have to come with us, and then we're going to call somebody to pick you up from our police headquarters, okay?
Can I call whoever I want?
Yes.
Okay. So I can call my brother.
That's fine.
Where does he live? He lives in New Jersey.
Yeah, if he could wake up, he could. That's fine. Nothing in your pockets, right? You could hop up.
Phone, wait.
I think your phone. We have your phone.
Where's my phone?
We have it. You could hop up in the car. You could hop up in the car, okay? We have your phone.
How do I hop on?
You could take a step right there and then have a seat.
Okay.
You just lean back and face the other way.
I'll do that.
Just let me get your seatbelt on, all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can I ask you a question?
Yes. What?
If I call this person, right? What happens then?
They just have to come pick you up. That's all.
No, but exactly like what happens.
We'll talk about when we get back inside, okay?
Court date. Okay, what did she get sentenced with?
Either stay home or call an Uber.
Agreed.
Prudy eventually provided a breath sample that resulted in a 0.20% blood alcohol concentration, way above the legal limit. She was charged with driving while intoxicated, careless driving.
Just after the morning rush hour, central Munich. Scenes that pour fuel on Germany's political disputes over immigration, with the far right soaring in the polls, ahead of the most significant general election since reunification. A child's pram and a shoe lie crushed in the street. 28 people rushed to hospital after someone, later confirmed to be a failed Afghan asylum seeker, had rammed his car into a crowd.
A car crashed into the back of a demonstration. We saw the whole thing. They were walking along the whole street, and when they crossed the intersection, a car drove into the back of the crowd.
As an arrest video emerged, the German Chancellor was forced to comment on the divisive issue currently haunting German politics. The alleged attacker, who'd come to Germany as an unaccompanied minor, reportedly had his asylum application rejected nearly a decade ago. So why was he still in the country?
This perpetrator cannot count on any leniency. He must be punished and he must leave the country.
He'd also reportedly been in trouble with the police for drugs and theft, but whether he was operating alone or part of a group isn't yet known.
At the moment, we can neither rule out nor confirm other perpetrators. There are no leads at the moment. The background is currently being investigated.
There have been several lethal attacks by newcomers to Germany in the last few years. 6 died when a Saudi man drove into a Christmas market in Magdeburg.
Okay, the Saudi man was literally an anti-Islam AfD supporter and was not a newcomer to Germany. That's crazy. This, of course, is going to absolutely ignite the same fear-mongering that already existed, which is truly beneficial for AfD's purposes in general.
He turned out to be a far-right anti-Islam activist who'd renounced his faith. Still, Germany's insurgent far-right party, the AfD, say these acts of extreme violence are precisely why their controversial policy of re-migration is so popular. The AfD leader, Alice Weidel, who's been courting support from Hungarian hardliner Viktor Orban, today repeated her Trumpian demands for mass deportations to reverse the immigration started by Angela Merkel in 2015.
Meine Pflichten.
The AfD.
It's crazy because I said this yesterday. Like I just said, everyone in Western Europe has made fun of Viktor Orban, and every single country is going to have little Viktor Orbans prop up left and right. Terrifying predicament. What should Germans do about the terror attacks? I mean, it's always the same. Violence is violence, chatter. You address the needs of the population. That's it. Unless you're asking that question because you personally think that like there is something different to the Islamic style violence that's taken place or something, you know? Contrary to the initial information, the suspect had a residence and work permit. This was reported in German media at 8:17. This deportation agitation in German media was completely off the rails today. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense because it plays a role in propping up the most like right-wing positions possible. The media loves hitting the panic drums. Social Democrats have failed to fight fascism. In many cases, helped accelerate it while being the most smug, out-of-touch people on the planet. Yeah.
They are currently polling second, but are unlikely to assume power as Germany's main parties refuse to work.
Yeah, I got the Cypher 191. I think it's Battle Pass.
So wahr mir Gott helfe.
Meanwhile, to Munich enter US Vice President J.D. Vance and a multitude of other world leaders for the Global Security Conference. On the agenda, Russia, the Middle East, and much more. But today's carnage provokes more immediate questions, for it also emerged this afternoon that police had foiled an attempted bomb attack on an asylum shelter near Dresden by someone described as a German national. How will today's events affect the election in 10 days' time?
This article confirms the misinfo before and explains more. Please read so people know chatter was right. Summary at the top. Germany, Munich car attack injures 30. Suspect detained. At least 30 people were injured after a car drove into a trade union march in Munich. Chancellor Olaf Scholz has called for the suspect, an Afghan national legally in Germany, to be deported. Police say the suspected perpetrator, an Afghan national, was detained at the scene. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has called for the suspect to be deported. Opposition leader Friedrich Merz said something has to change. The Taliban say they are prepared to cooperate on deportations in return for consular presence in Germany. Contrary to earlier reports, Bavarian ministers have said that the suspect was not subject to deportation and was in possession of a valid residency permit. Weidel says under the AfD, the man wouldn't have been here in the first place. Alice Weidel, the chancellor candidate for the far-right Alternative for Deutschland, insisted that the 24-year-old Afghan national detained on suspicion of driving his car into a trade union march in Munich on Thursday would have never entered Germany had her party been in power. Weidel placed the blame for the incident at the door of the Bavarian premier, Markus Söder, saying the question which politicians need to face, especially Söder, is, what was the man even doing here? These guys, I think, get so horny anytime an instance of mass violence occurs. They're like, oh, hell yeah, it's time. It's time to use this as our opportunity. Why didn't the media cover the Swedish mass shooter? Because he was white. The media did cover it. But just briefly. And unfortunately, the reality of the matter is that right-wing sentiment is what dominates polite discourse and just discourse in general. Yeah. When it's a far-right white guy doing an act of terror, then it's like, oh, it's a lone wolf. Why are you politicizing this? There's nothing to be said about the right-wing radicalization. When it's a random Muslim person, okay, or an Afghan refugee, they're like, oh, this is how they all are. Notice that nobody says this is how they all are about white people, obviously, because that's not the case. Just like that's not the case for the millions of Muslim refugees that work and live normal lives in Germany every single day, in spite of the anti-Islam sentiment that you hear from many German politicians. Don't spread misinfo. There's no known agenda yet. The Deutsche Welle article is misleading. He doesn't have permanent residency. In fact, his asylum application got rejected at first. He had a restricted residency, and he was only allowed to stay by formality because they didn't decide whether they will extend his residency. Yeah, the Swedish fellow disappeared from the news. Yeah, the initial coverage also had like photos of like a random Arab-looking person too. And then yeah, when they realized the dude was white, they were like, okay, never mind, my B. Sorry about that. Anyway, I'm not saying this is like there is a intrinsic quality to violence that only impacts like white people or some shit. I'm not saying that at all. I'm simply explaining that everyone is capable of violence. Okay, right-wingers specifically are very capable of violence, and oftentimes, what? Can you address repeating mass murders in Germany without calling people racist fascists? This is becoming disrespectful for non-immigrants. White people are also humans, you know. I love that right-wingers pretend that the only solution to an act of terror is by being Islamophobic. Like that's you're making it seem as though if you say, you know, this is just Islam, this is how all Muslims are, then you magically solve this problem. You're an idiot. What are you talking about? Yes. People ask me, how do you fix this problem? And I tell them it's the same principle. All instances of violence like this, with the exception of like the antisocial personality disorder caused instances of violence, are solvable through addressing the material problems that people have. Okay, this is not a unique position. This is just the truth. That's it. Also, this guy said white people are human too, as though I, a white man, don't think that. Wait, it's not Muslims from India, Pakistan, Indonesia, etc. It's always Middle Easterners. Yo, this is my goat. Is this an Indian Muslim who says like violence only happens? This is a hyper specific. This is an advanced form of racism that I had not encountered before. Is this guy an Indian Muslim who says like, nah, you don't understand, it's only the MENA Muslims that do this shit? That's awesome. I mean, this is cool. I cherish this kind of thing. This new versions of racism when all the previous versions of racism are outdated. Respect. I love that. The funniest and coolest thing that I also encounter is that the overwhelming majority of like insanely white supremacist accounts are run by like Indian dudes or like dudes from Malaysia, like Radio Genoa, being like, we need to make sure that the West maintains its white superiority, and the dude is just Indian. The dude saying that is an Indian guy. Amazing. Wait, why'd you ban this guy? He's popping up. I want to hear more from this guy. Indian racism hits different. It's like, while virtually every other type of racist despises Indians very openly and in the grossest ways possible, there was a chatter who earlier said that they are Indian and Muslim, and they've gotten far more hatred for being Indian than being Muslim online. Because for some reason, like, racists really hate Indian people. But then you got Indian people who are doing their own version of racism, not oblivious to the ways in which white supremacists despise them, but still, like, they will just consistently maintain the position that, like, they are the true Aryans and that they're basically white, and they always have the coolest, newest type of bigotry that I've never encountered. It's unironically, as a racism sommelier, I do find it fascinating. Like, it is truly fascinating. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of the way that Turkish hogs operate too, because they're always like, we're not Arab. We're above that. Are you kidding me? We're a superior race. We're Turks. And Somali, okay, Somalis do this a little bit too, for sure. If that's what you're talking about, unless you're making a joke about me saying racism sommelier, like a wine connoisseur. I'm a racism connoisseur. Turks do this all.
We're losing Alpha.
YouGov, The Economist, came out with some polls looking at Donald Trump's popularity, Elon Musk's popularity, and then also some shifts in public opinion as it relates to Israel and Palestine. I found some of this stuff fascinating. If we could just scroll through here a little bit and get your guys' take on this. Trump had a honeymoon period when he started off. He was over 50% approval rating, but it's dropping. So according to YouGov and The Economist, more polls will come out soon. But now he is sub 500 in terms of approval. We'll see, or sorry, sub 50% in terms of approval. Here we go. More people strongly or somewhat approved of how he was handling his job as president, 49%, then disapproved, 43%. And he's still higher up. But let's scroll down to the Elon Musk part of this. Or no, actually go up here. But we are seeing some drops with certain demographics. This 18 to 29-year-old one, where you see, scroll up a little bit. No, I want to view the table. No. No, the age group, but just like I want to see the title, so I can't see it on the stream. So, yeah. So, views of Donald Trump by age over the past 6 months. And you can see from August 2024, this spike for 18 to 29-year-olds. I wonder if that's a methodology issue, because they may have a harder time contacting this age demographic. We could just put a pin in that, but like we do know that the Zoomers were a little bit more pro-Trump, particularly young men. Millennials still holding it down.
It'd be nice to have dates to that, because would it correspond to like what, TikTok ban, or?
It would correspond to the inauguration, which makes sense.
Is that January?
Yep. Yeah. And then the spike here, the big spike. Oh, maybe him winning the election.
Okay, right.
And then the other spike is the inauguration, and you can see how that kind of translates. But this was the same thing that held in the polling prior to the election, that millennials and then people over 65 are kind of not as supportive of Donald Trump, but it's the Gen X and Gen Z voters who are booing his support. But Elon Musk, let's keep going.
It's the kids and their parents. It's pretty clear that's how it's working out. Right. Millennials are the children of boomers. Gen Z are the children of Gen Xers.
Yeah.
It seems like that really is, to be honest with you, like part of the what's going on here.
That's a good point. Now, Musk's popularity, as I mentioned, is dipping. There have been multiple polls that indicate this. Elon Musk now, a majority of Americans view him somewhat unfavorably, 52%, and favorably, 42%, and his popularity has fallen in recent weeks. This share who say they have an unfavorable opinion of Musk increased 7 percentage points in the past week to 43% from 36%. So that's 43%. And a 7-point increase in very unfavorable opinions of Elon Musk. Musk is increasingly seen as highly influential within Trump's administration. 63% of Americans say he has a lot of influence. That increased from 51% in the prior week's poll, probably buoyed by the fact that he did a press conference standing and Trump sat silently in the chair in the Oval Office, as Elon Musk described how he was taking a hatchet to our federal government. But then this is the other portion, the Gaza part, that is really fascinating. This shows basically how the Democrats also have to completely extricate the Israel lobby from their party. The chart below is more interesting to me here. So you're seeing that a lot of people just will say that they equally sympathize with both. More Americans sympathize with the Palestinians in the Israeli-Palestinian conflict than have in years. The increase in support, sympathy for the Palestinians, and the decrease in support for the Israelis. You can see that spike is October 7th, and it's been a gradual decrease for the Israelis, around equal. People who just both sides it, that remains the same. But look at the Democratic Party polling. This is a clear path forward for the Democrats. Like, Musk's popularity is going to keep going down. The chaos that the Trump administration is going to cause, look, it's not inevitable that the Democrats win or whatever, but they have to be able to harness this. And part of that is basically standing up against genocide. Look at that. Democrats are more pro-Palestinian than at any time in the past 7 years. The majority opinion, according to this poll at this current moment, is to be more sympathetic to the Palestinians among Democratic voters. The Israelis, 9%. Now,
Down from the 35% right after October 7th, they completely blew any sort of they cashed in to do a genocide and cut some demographics down, frankly.
And so, like, can you think about how proportional that is to the support for Israel within the Democratic caucus in terms of representatives? And then ask yourself, how sustainable this is? Because, like, when you look at that chart,
over 12,000.
2024 is when that dip, I mean, you can see it wasn't at 9%, but it started to fall off really quickly after they began the active genocide. And during that whole period, you see 2024, look at that low number for the Israelis. Biden was running, and then Harris, building off of it, to appease a law. But this is not about, I hated this false notion that this was about like weighing pro-Israel voters versus pro-Palestinian or Arab voters. They framed it as if it was Jewish versus Arab voters that they were weighing these constituencies for. No, they were weighing the Israeli lobby versus what their voters wanted. And that shows it exactly right there, is that the voters, their base, were not supportive of what Israel was doing, and they pursued this policy anyway.
And I would suggest that the rise you see in support for the Israelis sort of creeping up before the election was Democrats sort of going along with the top of the ticket saying, okay, if we need to do this, we will support them. Once you see that it helped blow the election to Trump, people all of a sudden get a much more stark realization of how stupid Harris and Biden were over the past year.
Exactly, right. And there's a cynical part of it where it's like, oh, now that Trump is presiding over the ethnic cleansing and genocide of the Palestinians, there are Democrats that are against it now. Like, people in my life who are registered Democrats who never talked about the Palestinians suddenly have an opinion on it now that Trump is in office. So you can be cynical about it, but it's also what Matt's describing. You know, you can't expect, frankly, people aren't going to be as engaged in politics as we are. So they'll usually go along with what their political party is advocating for. But even despite the propaganda from the Biden administration, you saw that shift in opinion, and they still pursued the policy anyway. So this was not about electoral politics. I just want to make that as clear as possible. This was about a Zionist ideology. Any thoughts, folks?
You're right. It was.
Oh, my two favorite words.
I think that was 4 words, but yeah, but I think you're the right part. But no, I mean, yeah, I think it was obvious at the time too. I think the argument that like Democratic voters were so in favor of this genocide just never really seemed to materialize in the real world. Like we saw how many pro-Palestinian protests there were. We saw how many like of the most active people who would have been on the Democratic Party side in 2024 were like subjected to all types of abuse at the hands of the police for protesting on college campuses. And the myth that there was like an equal or bigger side that was just like so pro-Israel, like never saw any of those or like any of that activism really. Like there were a few protests in favor of Israel, but nothing reaching the level that we saw from college campuses. So it was really just, you know, the Democrats trying to manufacture consent in pursuit of supporting, you know, not just Israel, but the military-industrial complex, of which Israel is like one of our main satellites for like testing weapons.
Yeah, and intelligence and like, I mean, it was Anthony Lowenstein's book about the Palestine Laboratory, which talks about how the Israelis and by extension the United States and all these other weapons firms essentially use Gaza as a laboratory to test their most lethal weapons. And it's like, all right, these millions of people are there as lab rats for genocide.
Yeah. So, and I think this last genocide was them testing a lot of their AI surveillance technology that we would hear about every so often.
Lavender.
That will be used and subjected on the American people if it's not already being subjected on the American people. Not that makes it worse or better, but like certainly it's something that people need to be able to see those connections between like the things that we do in the Middle East and abroad, coming home to like be subjected against American people. people.
Yeah. Did you want to say something, Matt?
Yeah, I also just want to emphasize to people that Democrat Party's not going in the right direction on this stuff. Two key representatives that would be great in terms of speaking out against what Musk and Doge and Trump are doing, Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush, were removed in the primaries by record spending by Israel groups. And let's take a look at Wesley Bell in Missouri, see how dynamic this guy is, this Zionist plant, and think of just what we could have had if maybe Cori Bush was still there. And I get that there's people who want to rush to the conversation about how Cori Bush could have done better constituent service or whatever. I would rather look at the forest, and I'll leave other people to look at the trees here. But here's Wesley Bell. Let's grade this electric performance.
Representative Wesley Bell here. We've been getting so many calls from the office. We know people are concerned, and I want to talk about two things. One, what we have done, and two, what we need to do. And so on January 20th, Trump signed an executive order to abolish the doctrine of birthright citizenship. A federal judge blocked Trump's birthright citizenship executive order as unconstitutional. That doesn't happen without us pushing from public outcry, but also working with our stakeholders to make certain.
Stakeholders, so that's good. I think we're quite there. Not quite Cori Bush, is he?
No, not quite.
I love feeling like I'm at like a meeting at work and being, being chastised for like not meeting your profit projections for Q3.
Where's George Latimer at, by the way? Speaking of, where's George Latimer at? What's he up to?
His eyes are pointing in different directions.
They couldn't have given Wesley a prompter? I mean, he's looking down at his phone for his notes during a front-facing video.
It literally does feel like an all-hands meeting at like the worst job you've ever had, which is, by the way, how the Democrats feel. Like, in part, Kamala Harris came off as a bureaucrat, and that's part of why she lost. And this is that same kind of thing.
They're talking about stakeholders. Like, we have all this talk about like, ooh, don't use the word Latinx or whatever. They talk like Hakeem Jeffries when it's like, we need to do a new story, but this is corporate speak. This is like how you get a job, just to differentiate yourself from like different Ivy League grads and places, is you tell a nice story and you use words like stakeholders that don't offend anybody that has hiring powers. Like it's bloodless, and it's. I mean, do we have more Hakeem Jeffries on Stewart, or have we exhausted that?
It is amazing how they're talking. Like they're trying to like rally the troops with their opening line is "Attention, stakeholders and good billionaires." Like what is going on? Like who do they think? And then there's the reports of them getting mad at the actual grassroots organizations who are not even like lefty organizations, like grassroots, liberal and progressive organizations who are the ones who line up to back Democrats all the time when it counts. They're even like, we can't deal with what Democrats are doing right now. And the Democrats, instead of trying to work out something to appease their literal base, not even leftists, their literal base, and they get angry that they're speaking out. Like, talk about you got multiple occasions now where Hakeem Jeffries is like, we can't do anything. There's nothing we can do. And then
just stunning writes in. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry, I got mad at him.
Yes, but Eric Adams, and he's like, I'll let the people in New York to handle that. It's like, what are you doing? Like, you guys, first of all, like, that's just ridiculous. It was the National Democratic Party that literally elevated Eric Adams to where he is right now. He was talked about like he was the future of the Democratic Party. And right now, the entire city of New York is beholden to Donald Trump because he's dangling those charges over Eric Adams' head. Because everyone should realize, I'm sure you guys have talked about it already, that those charges were dropped against Eric Adams, but with the ability for them to raise them again. So basically, Eric Adams, for however long he's mayor, is going to be beholden to whatever Trump wants. He's already told his own people, his own commissioners, not to say anything against Trump, not to get involved with anything regarding ICE. It is absolute mayhem, and the Democratic Party at national level is MIA.
Yeah, Just Stunning writes in, where are the Palestinian protests for Trump's ethnic cleansing of the Gaza plan? This is what annoyed me. Actually, I'm a part of the Telegram channel in New York City for Gaza protests, so I get notifications about this. If you want to protest, look it up. There's a Bryant Park protest, I believe, this weekend. So actually, there are protests. There are protests. And we are the constituency of the Democratic Party. We're in the base of the Democratic Party. It's expected that the party's supposed to respond to their base. Trump does whatever the base wants. We are not, they don't care about what we have to say. There's gonna still be protests, but the reason there was outrage is because Biden is a Democrat. He's supposed to be advancing a more humanist agenda based on like what people vote for compared to the Republicans. That's why there was the outrage. And I'm really sick of this, attack on the pro-Palestine demonstrators is essentially being like ops for the Republican Party. Give me a break.
That person is a Holocaust denier, essentially. This idea that these sorts of protests aren't going on, and you're not hearing about them because the Democrats aren't the target of them. So people like that you follow, the fucking freaks that apologize for a genocide for all that time, they're not hearing about it. But absolutely, people are still in the streets for this. But also, there's a goddamn ceasefire that Biden and Harris weren't going to be able to accomplish. So there's going to be a little bit of difference in terms of protest activity, because even though we all get it, man, and I'm sure all the liberals that are pointing that out understand. Like, yeah, it's really those people are the Holocaust deniers.
But it just doesn't make any sense from even just like a complete even like taking away like this is what's going on and these are the protests that are happening. It just doesn't make sense that you would complain that you haven't heard about it, because of course maybe you haven't heard about it, because they were doing those protests during campaign stops and campaign events during a presidential election season.
There was a protest at the Super Bowl.
Out there holding rallies right now. Then there was someone at the Super Bowl who literally
active protest at the Super Bowl.
Right. Staged a pro-Palestine, pro-Gaza protest. I mean, if you're not hearing about it, it's A, because you're not paying attention, and B, they're not being covered because these things aren't happening at campaign events, so they're outside of what mainstream media is covering. Like, and Trump's not doing rallies. Like, Trump has been MIA himself. We've been hearing more from Elon Musk than Trump. Trump hasn't left his little room at the White House or golfing wherever he's been golfing, and he's completely been really missing in action. No big rallies from Trump because it's not an election season.
Let's get to a clip and we can continue this conversation if that's okay, Brandon. We can keep talking.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Hey folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.
So as you all know, Joe Rogan's show over the past year or two has become the Coddle the Robber Barons hour. He seemingly can't go a month without bringing on some billionaire oligarch robber baron criminal. He had Mark Zuckerberg on, he had Peter Thiel on, he had Elon Musk on, he had Mark Andreessen on. He loves to bring in these mega wealthy elites for them to pretend together that, bro, we're against the elites, bro. We're against the elites. We're against the establishment here on the Joe Rogan robber baron experience, bro. And it's just, at this point, it's beyond ridiculous. It's like humiliating to see this happen on a daily basis. Well, one of the other things you'll notice, at this point, I don't know how anybody watches this, if I'm being honest with you. At this point, it's like the old appeal, the old charm of the Joe Rogan experience is so dead and gone, it's laughable. Because his show now, half the time, at least, is the Elon Musk suckfest experience. Like, it just is. Like meat riding Elon 24/7. It's like he's never heard a single argument against anything Elon is doing. He does this really beta cuck thing where he's like, oh, my puny brain could never live up to the amazing big brain of Elon Musk. Oh, he's such a mega genius. I don't even feel human when I'm near him because he's just so smart. Oh, Elon, can I give you a hand job? Like, this is what it is, right? Well, unfortunately, I have some examples for you here. I got to try to calm down as I watch this because my blood is going to be boiling. My blood pressure is going to absolutely spike. To give myself a fucking aneurysm on air watching this, but here, let's go through it.
What I worry about is how much this is where I get mad at the media for presenting this like
this is Hitler. We're having it notched up to 11 for the past 8 years. And now you've got this, because he was put in, it's almost like that energy has been transferred to Elon now. Because now, did you see the Elon protests? They're protesting Elon. They're literally standing out there with signs that say, arrest Elon Musk.
Listen, I guarantee it's organized. Bro, the protest against Elon can't be organic. I like Elon. I'm gonna jump off a bridge, homie. I'm gonna jump off a fucking bridge. It's like they've never heard anybody explain it to them why there's tremendous anger at Elon. Nobody's, okay, here, I'll try to break it down for you as simple as possible. Here's the way our government works, Joe and random woman. The House passes a bill, the Senate passes a bill, the president signs it, that's it. The funds go to the Treasury gives out the payments. That's it. That's what we have in our constitutional Republican representative democracy. It's called the power of the purse. That's how it works. What Elon Musk has done is, as the wealthiest robber baron in the world, he gave over $250 million to Trump to help get him elected.
They've taken the
Rank
lead.
corruption. Then Trump said, hey, here's a fake government agency called Doge. And then when Trump got in office, Elon immediately went to the Treasury Department and illegally hacked into the system, can get everybody's data, everybody's social security number, everybody's bank account. And he also illegally hacked into other government agencies and started deleting programs he doesn't like, deleting agencies he doesn't like, all wildly illegal and wildly unconstitutional. In a scenario where what he's doing is legal, it would have to be Congress passes a bill that says, hey, here are the specific agencies that you're allowed to audit. Here's the specific kind of payments you're allowed to say are fraud or abuse and you can get rid of. And we're granting you access to do that. That would be legal, but Congress didn't do that. There is no bill authorizing him to do it. It doesn't matter that President Trump says, I support him doing it. It's still wildly illegal. That's not the way the system works. Congress has a say, the courts have a say, which is why every single court that's looked at this so far has said, hey man, you gotta stop. And it's not just, there are Obama judges who said that, but there's also George W. Bush judges who said that. There's also Trump judges who said that. Are they all like, do they all have Trump derangement syndrome, guys? These Trump-appointed judges who are saying this is illegal? Bro, you're just like, you just don't understand Elon's genius, bro. Like, what am I supposed to do with these people, bro? What am I supposed to do with these people? And again, do they have any idea the actual stuff that Elon is doing, the actual payments he's freezing, the actual impacts of that? Just one example, they made a big deal of this USAID thing. Because of Elon freezing the payments, there's $100 million in food that's sitting in ports that is currently rotting. And the Inspector General came out and said, hey, bro, all this food is going to waste because you illegally froze it. And as a result of that, how many tens of thousands of people are going to go hungry, are not going to get that food? Would you rather have it sit there and rot, or would you rather let it out? Right? Again, if you want to stop the food shipments, pass a bill in Congress that says we're done giving out food for USAID. But they didn't do that. Oh my God, here we go.
Organized by the same people that are going to lose a shitload of money based on all these discoveries at Doge.
Oh my God. Bro, the protests are organized by the people who have a financial interest in keeping like USA going. Hey, Joe, my precious, sweet little Joe. Have you seen this? At least 11 federal agencies targeted by the Trump-Musk firings and cuts have more than 32 continuing investigations, pending complaints, or enforcement actions into Mr. Musk's 6 companies. He is dismantling and defunding and eliminating government agencies that cut into his profits because they hold him accountable. The CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, he said, rest in peace, CFPB. He's killing it. Well, the CFPB regulates Elon Musk. Elon Musk just made a deal with Visa to make Twitter a financial processing system also, so the CFPB would regulate him. He killed the agency that's supposed to regulate him. So the monetary concern is literally the exact opposite of what he's saying. You know who's out in the streets who are furious at Elon Musk? Some of the 200 million Americans who were saved by the Consumer Financial Protection Agency, who were defrauded by a bank and they got a check in the mail because that agency was looking out for them. That's who's protesting Elon Musk.
If you look at what Doge is uncovering, what they're uncovering with this USAID stuff, a lot of that stuff was organizing through NGOs protests. They organized
Oh my God, he literally thinks the protests against Elon Musk are AstroTurf. Because who could actually be against the complete dismantling of the Department of Education, which is one of the things Elon's doing? Who could be against totally dismantling the anti-scam police, the CFPB? That's what he's doing. Who could be against freezing payments for HIV medication for children? Pfft, that's crazy to be against that. I'm at a loss, bro. I'm at a loss. Here, we got more.
That's fucking amazing. And then this other thing about Elon. Elon's going to steal everybody's money. He has $400 billion. I'm telling you, he's not going to steal your money. I'm telling you, that's not what he's doing. What he's doing is he's a super genius that's been fucked with.
Bro, why would you think the world's richest man, this robber baron, is interested in money, bro? He's got so much of it. He doesn't care about that. Joe, would you say the same thing about the mega wealthy robber baron, George Soros? Bro, Soros isn't plotting to take everybody's money, bro. I mean, he's got so much of it, bro. I mean, this is like saying, bro, that heroin addict isn't looking for more heroin. He's already done heroin 20,000 times. He doesn't need any more of that, bro. Like, unironically, one of the dumbest arguments I've ever heard in my life. And by the way, again, don't take my word for it. Follow the money. At the same day, Elon was dismantling the Department of Education. We got word that SpaceX got a multi-million-dollar contract from NASA. So he's not cutting off his own money, his own funding coming from the federal government, taxpayer money, corporate welfare, subsidies. He's continuing the gravy train for himself while cutting off the social safety net for everybody else. That's a fact. That's not an opinion. He takes tens of billions of dollars from the Pentagon. He's one of the biggest Pentagon subcontractors. You trust Elon Musk. He's slashing everything in sight, slashing the anti-scam agency, slashing the Department of Education. Is he slashing his own subsidies? No. No, in fact, he's growing his own subsidies. He's getting more subsidies. I mean, this is... I'm losing it, bro. I'm fucking losing it, bro.
And when you've been fucked with by these nitwits that hide behind three-letter agencies, and you're dealing with one of the smartest people alive, and he helps Donald Trump get into office, and he goes, I want to find out what kind of corruption is really around.
Do you see what he just did there? He helps Donald Trump get into office, and he wants to find out what corruption is really around. Hey, Joe, that helping Trump get into office, that's the corruption. Why'd you describe that as if it's totally benign? You have the richest man in the world giving over $250 million to get Trump elected, and now he's illegally hacking into the Treasury, and you don't see that as corruption? Bro, cooked. His brain is so cooked skis. There is nothing left up there, dog. There is nothing left. The 2 remaining brain cells he has are currently in the midst of an MMA fight.
Well, you fucked up. You fucked up and picked the wrong psychopath on the spectrum. Because he's gonna hunt you down. He's gonna find out what's going on, and that's good. That's good for everyone. That's how you should be looking at this.
It's good. It's good. It's good that the richest man in the world killed the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the anti-scam police, that was responsible for returning $20 billion to Americans who were defrauded by big financial institutions. Joe and his guests have complained about debanking. Well, you know who prevents debanking? The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. That's who prevents it. When you get, some sort of fraudulent charge, you know who you contact if your bank's not cooperating? The CFPB, and they get you your money back. Like, it's fucking surf brain shit, bro. By the way, all the USAID, bro, USAID's horrible and all these things, bro. Look at this. Elon Musk received millions from USAID. Remember Musk said sending 5,000 Starlink terminals to Ukraine? He didn't mention it was USAID paying him millions for the terminals. Using International Internet Project Fund, he's pocketed millions from USAID. So he gets money from USAID. He gets money from NASA. He gets money from various U.S. government agencies, tens of billions of dollars in federal taxpayer money in subsidies, and he's slashing the Department of Education, the anti-scam police, hacking into Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, while continuing to pocket the money himself. As I pointed out to you guys, him and his robber baron buddies are going to loot the Treasury. You know what else they're going to do? Deliver massive, colossal tax cuts for themselves, while they openly are saying, we got to cut Medicaid, which is healthcare for poor people and disabled people, over $800 million. Million or billion? I just did this story earlier. $880 billion. Billion. Excuse me for being so silly as to think it could be million. So they want to cut Medicaid by $880 billion, cut SNAP, which is food stamps, by at least 20%. This is who they are, guys. This is who they are. This is what they're doing. It's just amazing to me, his ability. Since he likes Elon and he likes Trump, he just completely and utterly overlooks any of the corruption involving them, even though the corruption involving them is like the clearest thing anybody has ever seen in human history. I mean, as Joe shits on Democrats on a daily basis, has he said a single word about Trump running a crypto scam on his own supporters 2 days before his inauguration, making $100 million in fees and then billions of dollars on top of that? The fucking president of the United States did a meme coin, a shit coin, to rob his own supporters. And Joe's busy talking about the corruption on the Democratic side. It's just, it's like, it's beyond laughable at this point. It is beyond laughable. His brain is so far gone. And at this point, it's like, shit, why even do your show? Bring in Elon Musk. Let him sit there and lie to the American people for 3 hours straight. You bring on a robber baron at least once a month to lie to the American people and pretend like they're the saviors and they're the most elite people on the planet are somehow against the elites. The most establishment people on the planet are somehow against the establishment. He also likes to, bro, we got to stop all these wars, bro. All these wars are bad. But I endorse Donald Trump, who currently is warmongering with Panama and saying we're going to illegally take it. Greenland and saying we're going to illegally take it. Denmark, who owns Greenland. Mexico, who's our fucking neighbor, who we trade with all the time. Iran, who we said Israel can go ahead and attack their nuclear facilities. And the list goes on and on and on. I don't know what we're doing here, bro. I don't know where. It's time to wrap it up. Washed is not a strong enough word. Joe Rogan is beyond Celtics Shaq. He has graduated to something we've never fucking seen before. There was a time when his show was fun and lighthearted and he's talking to a comedian and they're joking and they're talking about fucking, I don't know, monkeys and space. And now it's like, bro, aren't tax cuts for the rich anti-establishment? Bro, isn't the anti-scam agency everything that's wrong with America? Bro, isn't Elon Musk right about everything? Bro, isn't Donald Trump really funny as he openly says we're going to go back to 1800 style imperialism and steal Gaza and build hotels on the beach? Bro. It's all like, historians have to study this, right? Like what happened to the right-leaning comedians who are all about like edginess and triggering the libs, and how they just like all of them over time just morphed into like Rush Limbaugh, right? Like none of them are remotely funny anymore. None of them are remotely edgy or interesting. It's just, I hate liberals, man. Elon Musk is great. It's like, all right, man. Good luck with that moving forward. It ain't gonna last much longer. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe.
So we went from Trump the peacemaker, ceasefire, to we're not, it's so crazy. I thought that the worst thing that would happen is be like, all right, Israel can hand it over. I did not for 1 million years think, oh, we're actually going to be the ones who administer it. I never in my wildest dreams did I think that we would be where we are today. I am just, thank God, you know, hopefully the American people can speak out against it. I'll tell you this, if a single American soldier is foot in Gaza, I'm gonna be out there as like some Vietnam War hippie in the street. Like, I'm not kidding. That is a complete red line. And I think it should be for everybody. This is if you want a ticket to not only losing for a generation, destroying your legacy, Doge, this would be a footnote to a disastrous middle war in the Middle East. So I have nothing else to say about it. It's insane. I could go on forever.
Truly insane.
It makes me want to lose my mind. Where is the anti-war coalition? I'm seeing people who I've known for 20 years who have spoken against neocons and saying, oh, we can, happily administer God. Am I losing my mind? I mean, what happened? I knew that the right and many others were craven whenever it came to Afghanistan, and they never